Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by
The Bridge School, the accredited international online private school of choice, at bridgek12.org.
Porch Light Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
Cube Monk, featuring the world's first smart cube. Track your goods with our advanced GPS system. Welcome to the future of moving and relocation at cubemonk.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
And by heirs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at heirs.com.
Insured Nomads provides protection and peace of mind with health insurance, travel insurance, group, or tailored insurance for the globally mobile. Visit us at insurednomads.com.
And by International Auto Source. We are the vehicle experts for expats, featuring all major brands of automobiles with flexible solutions and financing. On the web at intlauto.com.
Become a global player in your field.
Cross Culture to Go provides virtual support for your global business and career success.
We can help you thrive in 140 plus countries and markets.
On the web at crossculturetogo.com.
Hi, this is Ed Cohen in Southern California. It's about 8:30 a.m. here, and our special guest today is in Beirut, Lebanon, and it's a little after 5:30 or so in the afternoon there. Irma, Balian, welcome back to Global TV.
Hi, Ed. Thanks for having me again. It's a pleasure.
So what were you doing during this afternoon in Beirut? Give us a slice of life.
Yeah, well, my kids have school virtual, and I had to run some errands. I cannot do it during the day because I have to somehow be around when they are doing their Zoom online courses.
Yeah.
They are responsible, but still, they're just children. Sometimes they just drift and get in the virtual world. So during the day, I cannot run errands, so I had to do that in the afternoon. And it's only during this week that the lockdown rules have relaxed here. So I was able to do things that I haven't been able to do for a whole couple of months, since January. So
it's like freedom, huh?
Yeah, freedom, yes, but with caution. You still have to be very cautious. We wear masks and we keep a distance as we should. It's not, I still haven't got my vaccine, for example. So I have to be extra cautious and, take things one step at a time, and restaurants have not yet opened. And when you need to go somewhere, even if it's a supermarket, you need to get permission. So it's still not completely relaxed, but at least people are able to go out and do things, not like the total lockdown.
Yeah, well, I wish you could get your vaccine soon. I've had both, and
yeah, good for you.
And Paul has just had his second one yesterday, and so it's worthwhile because it's a sense of freedom, actually.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Some sort of assurance,
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. So let's talk about protocol-wise in this world. What is the difference between protocol and diplomacy, especially with respect to senior levels in business?
Yeah. Well, diplomacy is something that deals with relationships. It builds or reinforces relationships, be it between two nations, to heads of state, to big organizations, whatever it is about building, reinforcing relationships, It's about finding ways to negotiate, and all the while being respectful. And diplomacy is important because it ensures that the two parties continue to stay on talking terms. Because when diplomacy fails, this could lead to any sort of uh, ineffective communication, sometimes feuds, sometimes on national levels to wars. So one needs to really grab the tools that diplomacy gives us and work with that. Now, protocol manages those relationships, and protocol ensures that there is trust, there is harmony, there is respect, equal respect to both parties. There are instances where diplomacy becomes a little bit sensitive if the two parties are not relaxed or they are not comfortable with each other. So, for example, if they're going to meet for the first time after a long period of feud, or after a long period of not talking to each other, and there is this sensitivity, how to deal with that, who should you trust? So protocol is there to ensure there is everything happens in a harmonious way and equal to both parties.
Going to show part of your site so it could augment the conversation. And we also want to welcome Maryann Hrichak to join us. She's based in San Francisco. And meet Irma, Balian.
Hello, Irma.
Hi, Maryann. How are you?
Beirut is top on my list to visit. One day
great.
I will get there.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, we're going to welcome you. Anytime you come, just let me know.
Thank you.
So Maryann is working in global mobility in San Francisco for a French company. I invited her to come on the show and talk about her visions and her insight, and just to have a texture to the conversation. So Irma, let's go back to protocols and diplomacy. To what extent is cultural intelligence involved?
Oh, it's very important because, like many of the viewers already know, cultural intelligence is not only about the awareness of the differences. In each culture, there are certain things that are done in a certain way. It's not only about that, but it's one step further than that, to be able to know how to navigate with those differences and come out in respectfully and with empathy, approach the matter with respect, and treat people the way they want to be treated. Because a lot of times we think that we are well-intentioned if we treat people the way we want to be treated, but with cultural intelligence, we are aware of the fact that we have to treat people the way they want to be treated and the way they think that is appropriate for them to be respected. When I say this, I can give you a small example that is related to protocol. In the Buckingham Palace, when they have state dinners, there is, whenever the dignitary comes from a Muslim country, the Queen always has her state dinners in Windsor Castle, not in Buckingham Palace. And if you don't know this cultural sensitivity, if you're not aware of that, you would wonder, why is it that always an Arab Muslim head of state is welcome in Windsor Castle and not in Buckingham Palace? And there is this cultural intelligence reason for that, because in those cultures, you should not have your back turned to anyone while you're eating, especially to the VVIP or the head of state or those dignitaries. And in Buckingham Palace, the state dinner table is in U-shaped form, right? So when the visiting head of state sits at the right side of the Queen, he and she are going to have some guests having their back to them, while they are sitting on the edges and, facing the other side. So that is disrespectful in those cultures. And, knowing this and being aware of these sensitivities, they do those dinners in Windsor Castle where they have the long rectangular table. So this is just an example to tell you how important it is to know about the cultural differences, not to serve any alcohol or to serve halal or kosher to Jewish people, dignitaries. You need to know these things. It's not only about knowing the protocol of how to respect, how to look dignified, or how to have this lavish dinner or this ceremony like you do according to your traditions. You have to go one step further in order to know these things. Just like in all international relations now, cultural intelligence plays a big role, and it's a big plus when you are aware of those sensitivities.
But it's really serious business. It's not soft skills, because it relates to relationships and
Yeah.
relates to getting beyond nicety.
Yeah, it's much more serious than that. And because in culture we have different levels of cultural sensitivity and the cultural approach. This can either make or break sometimes some relationships which are maybe shaky or fragile. Like I could give an example of how this plays a role. In many years ago, when President Bush Sr. was elected president, and he took office in January. That's how it happens in the USA. And at the time, in February, and this I think it happened in 1989, the Emperor of Japan, Hirohito, passed away. And there was the funeral of the emperor, and many heads of state were going to the funeral. Now, for President Bush, there was something that was a little bit not tricky, but some sensitivity. He had served in World War II in the U.S. Navy, and he was, I think, he was targeted by the Japanese, and he was saved by the American submarine. So for him, this had something to do with his personal opinion, or it was a little bit personal to him, first of all. And second, he was just newly elected. So if he was going to go to the funeral, he was going to be one of the most junior heads of state. And, in protocol, there is something that is very important. It's called precedence. You cannot talk about protocol without talking about precedence. That is what precedence ensures: equality, ensures respect, dignity in a fair way. And, if the Japanese, by the way, they were very delighted that former President Bush Sr. Decided to go to the funeral, because he outgrew his own circumstance that happened many years ago from that period, and he wanted to reinforce the relationship. So the Japanese wanted to appreciate this, and if they were gonna use the precedents like they should, President Bush at the time was gonna come in a later stage in the rank of precedence. And there was this sensitivity, and the Japanese did not want to in a way disappoint, not disrespect, but disappoint the president. So what they did is they changed the criterion for the precedence, and they did it in a way that it ensures, again, respect to all the other heads of state, but in a way that it puts President Bush Sr. at a more advanced rank in line in the procession during the funeral. So and this saved the moment when you have these cultural sensitivities and this alertness as a protocol officer, you are able to catch these things, and it saves the moment, just like it did then. And a lot of positivity was built on that, and a lot of more diplomatic, positive relationships were fostered after that.
That's quite a story, and I thank you
Yeah.
for drilling down on that because it gives it a meaningfulness that
Yeah.
everybody can understand. Maryann, what say you about all this? What's your
That's
experience
fabulous. I am so glad people don't talk about cultural intelligence. And there's so many things that happen under the surface and above the surface
True.
that people don't address. And the whole protocol issue, I didn't know all that about Bush Senior and Hirohito. I didn't know all the workings, but this kind of activity and this kind of awareness can only foster better global diplomatic relations.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's do a bit of a background. Paul, are you ready to show the gallery photo? Irma, I picked up a photo from your site that shows you in teaching, and you have a gallery shot here. And I'd like you to explain what we're going to look at in just a sec.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
What we have here is a picture of you training a group, and it looks like they're in camouflage. Would
Yeah,
you?
that's internal courses. They go through trainings, and I was training them in protocol and self diplomacy, and the importance of effective communication with their counterparts, with their seniors, with citizens, and these are people who, when the part of them, not all of them, serve as immigration officers at the airport. And I always tell them that, when you have tourists coming in, or, expats or people from abroad, you are the face of the country.
Yeah.
So when people come in, the first impression they get is from you. And this is why it's so important to make a first positive impression, because that stays with the person when they land. Sometimes they just come in and they just go to the hotel or to somebody's house. They haven't seen anything, they haven't done anything, but they already have a perception of the country. And that happens from the first couple of moments, or for the first impression they get. So communication is very important, and how they carry themselves and how they present themselves, if they behave with people professionally, it's crucial.
Now I see you here in the middle wearing
Mhm.
black. Okay.
It just happens. Yeah, it's just happening. These are clergy that they go and serve in different countries. And I was giving a training about the importance of cultural intelligence, because in many times when they are they are appointed to a certain position in a certain country, um, these clergy, they don't necessarily get a training about the cultural awareness. They do get trainings about religion and how they're going to serve their churches and that, but they never have this training. And a lot of them get into a culture shock, although they go from a specific country to another one to serve for the same church, but things are different. And you would be surprised how much the culture, the environment where a certain community is affected by its environment. And that is what makes what could make or break the situation in some way. So it's really important to have this cultural intelligence trainings.
Yeah, perspective is everything. So let's go down to table settings here. So
Yeah.
is this this is a party, it's a dinner,
Uh,
and it's
well,
senior level.
yeah, yeah. I was giving a training about how to set the table properly. There are there are different settings. You have for the social, you have for the diplomatic, you have for really formal dinners, and how how to navigate if you are invited to something really formal. You don't want to waste your time or energy, not time, energy on thinking about which fork to use or which glass to use. These have to come in naturally to you once you are in high positions, once you're a dignitary who who needs to represent his country or his organization. So it is very important to have those skills, because a lot of times negotiations or collaborations do take place around a meal, and your table manners and your skills uh, tell a lot about you when you are sitting with your counterpart, or you're someone you are trying to negotiate. It you would think that it's not important, but it says a lot. And if you do it successfully, you will feel more comfortable, more confident, and it adds to your skills of negotiation when you do it over a meal.
So it's a matter of being accepted,
Um,
rather than, oh, yuck, do I have to be with that person over a meal?
yeah, I mean, you have to be able to act graciously, and if you know how to do it, you wouldn't worry about it, and you would concentrate more on other things. It has to come naturally, and you would be surprised at so many people, so many dignitaries uh, lack that skill of table manners, and sometimes it just it puts off the person. I mean, you would think that that should go without saying. It's something graceful that people need to have once you have reached a certain level in your life, a position that should come naturally.
So teenagers sitting at a table. So
Yes.
is this how to use the napkin, or
Yes, this was a course in table manners as well for the teens. I was teaching them six soft skills, and they were in a sort of a restaurant where they were exercising what they had learned and enjoying it really. Practice makes perfect. Well, no matter how much you teach, if you don't practice it, then you wouldn't realize that you have learned. Because as they say, you tell me, okay, but you have to show me, okay, but if you involve me, and that's when I will really learn. So practicing is how people will learn, actually eating and experiencing how and what behavior they should have around the table.
so I have a question about the forks and the knives,
Yeah,
okay, in the
yeah,
middle.
yeah.
Okay, so the knife on the right looks like it's for butter, all right? And then the knife in the middle looks a little longer. So is that for cutting the meat, or the salad? And
So which photo are
with
okay?
the white dishes and the looks like lavender napkin, and
Yes.
then the knives on the right side.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. First of all, the trick is to go from outside in. Many times
Right.
people get confused as to which fork to use, when, and how. It's very easy. You start from the outside and you go in. If there is a soup spoon, that it means that you're gonna be served spoon. If the hostess is not gonna serve any soup, she should not be putting any utensils that are not gonna be used in the menu. That's first. Second, if there is a fish knife and a fish fork, it means they're gonna have a sort of a fish, and then they have the main course fork and knife, and then they will have or salad and main dish. It depends on the menu, and whatever is put on top is for the dessert. Now,
I see.
in some cultures, in some countries, they put them on the side. They don't put them on top. Now, in the U.S. and in restaurants, this is in formal, settings. Sometimes they put it this way. You wouldn't see this in Buckingham Palace, but you would see it in the British way, where the dessert fork and spoon, they would put it on the side, aligned with the other forks and knives.
Fascinating. It's really
Yeah,
fascinating. Okay.
yeah.
So for instance, in the middle, we have, I called it a butter knife, but that's for fish, right?
No, the butter knife is up.
It's up on the plate, right?
Yes, it's up
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
plate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And the thing with the butter and the butter knife is that it's not only to take from the butter and start spreading on your bread. A lot of people get confused about that. You have to put the butter first in your butter dish, the bread dish, and then spread it only on the piece of bread that you're gonna eat. And
So you break it apart. Yeah.
yes, and I've seen a lot of diplomats, unfortunately, just cutting the bread with the knife, or just to avoid cutting with the knife, they just take a bite with their mouth. That's a big no-no. You should only cut with your fingers. So yeah, that's
I
something
know
that
that it's so American, I guess, or just so
Too American.
yeah, too
Oh my
American.
no,
God.
well, everyone does it sometimes. It's not only about the American culture. Even around Europe or about the Middle East, I see people that they want to bite the bread with their teeth, and the bread should only be cut with your fingers on the bread plate.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. Okay,
Yeah.
Paul, let's scroll down a little bit and see what
Wait, I
these-
wanted to ask Irma a
Oh,
question.
sure.
Going
Please.
back to the top thing about the immigration officers being their first point of entry into the United States. I would
Yeah.
love to know how you change their mindset, because that is a very high stress job. If
Yes.
you have boatloads of international flights coming in, and immigration officers it's rare to encounter a nice immigration officer, in my experience.
Oh, I have to tell you from my own experience. In the beginning, I used to have, like you said, this type of encounters, but throughout the years, I realized that they do make an effort, and one way to make them realize this is about the awareness, and make them train about empathy. Try to put yourself in the shoe of the passenger or someone who just walked in. It's otherwise they're not gonna know how to behave, and they should take role. During the training, we do some role changing. One plays the role of the officer, and the other one plays the role of the passenger, and
Yeah.
that helps a lot. It's like an awakening to things that they don't realize sometimes. People
I would
don't-
love to be in that training. Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah, that would be nice. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
So what are we looking
Go
at
to
here?
another
with-
meeting. So
Oh, you have to go? Okay.
yes, Irma, so great to meet you. I love the work that you're doing. It's so
Likewise,
great.
very nice to
And
see
I'm
you.
Thank
sure
you,
I'll
Mary.
see you again. Thanks,
Thank
Ed,
you
and
so much.
thanks, Paul.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Stay
All right,
safe.
see you. Bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. So Maryann, here in the, I'm sorry, Irma,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
wearing a black top and a gray skirt.
Mhm.
So what are we looking at there? You're teaching about
Yeah, I'm teaching
the-
about
the-
social graces,
Right.
and being a graceful hostess, how to be respectful, how to carry yourself with proper manners, and do things in the proper way. And throughout the training, I also gave some tips about table manners as well. So that's why you see me setting the table. And I had some beautiful personalities come and do the the setting themselves, and then we had to look at how they did it. And during trainings like this, people are very apprehensive. They're not sure they want to volunteer for such an exercise, but these two ladies were gracious enough to do that.
So here you are with teens, and just teaching them the basics, I guess, and getting them to understand this bigger world.
Yes, and how to give a speech, and how to entertain, and how to be entertained, and how to host, and how to organize an event. I was talking to them about the precedence, the importance of precedence. We had to invite some of their teachers, some of the board members, and how to sit them, tell them about the importance of seating arrangements, because you never have enough training for that, because at the end of the day, for any guest, the event is successful if he or she had a nice time. And whoever that guest is, if he or she ends up sitting somewhere where they are not happy with their seating position or arrangement, they're not going to appreciate that, and they're not going to have a good impression about the whole event, no matter how much you had spent time organizing it. So that's why seating arrangement is crucial in all sorts of events.
So is it logical, and is it expected that people should speak to the host or hostess about them not being comfortable where they are?
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. It's gonna turn out like a sort of a criticism, and you don't wanna look like you are criticizing. You have to appreciate and just enjoy. It's not a lifetime situation. It's just for an hour or 2 hours. And even in state dinners, I always say this: if you want to sit next to someone that is important to you for your career, for your job, I don't know, a diplomat or an ambassador, and you end up sitting somewhere where you kind of are disappointed, don't brag about it. Don't even mention it. It's just take it graciously, and just enjoy the moment, enjoy the place, and make the best out of it.
Okay, this is great. Thank you so much. All right, Paul, could we take a look at the logo? When you get to that, that'll be okay. So Irma, you're just a wealth of this practical information. It's delightful for me to show this to our audience around the world. They'll be looking at it a year from now as well as tomorrow. It's timeless, and the value is existential.
Something that's really neat is that the Bridge School partners with various organizations to provide learning for their students. For example, we partner with a major ballet company, and we are able to enroll several of their students into our school. So now not only is the student able to participate in a school and have a seamless transition while they're very active in their ballet career, but now they have other dancers that are with them that are doing some of the same courses. So it's almost becoming a camaraderie where they're taking similar courses, they're working together on their ballet, and really being able to form this great partnership with these organizations to provide a needed service. A lot of times there are student athletes who will spend hours and hours at the gym or at the basketball courts, wherever it is. And if they're attending a traditional school, they're in school from 8 to 3. They get a quick snack, and then they're at the gym for 3 to 4 hours in the evening. Coming to us and having that partnership, they're able to break that up throughout the day. They can have a morning practice, get some schooling in, have an afternoon practice, finish their schooling in the evening. So there's that flexibility. And additionally, if there are tournaments or performances, it's fantastic because if there's a week where they have shows straight through, they can take that week off of learning and then pick back up when they're done. So it offers this great flexibility. And for the program owners of these sports leagues, it is a win-win situation for them because they see this need. They see this need that their students need to make sure that they are obtaining the grades necessary to be successful adults in our country and in other countries. But it provides them an environment where they can be successful at both.
So in dealing with international assignments, corporate assignments, oftentimes the principal, the employee, has an accompanying spouse, maybe even a kid, but just talk about the spouse or partner. And to what extent is the training given to both, or is it just to the employee?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, there are programs for expat spouses, and where first of all, it depends on the spouse whether she or he would be interested in any sort of training, and if they are, then there is always the opportunity for those trainings. And some of them would be interested in working and or really being. I always say, where there's a will, there is a way, and it all depends on the individual. If they are interested, if they are willing to go through a training, of course it's there, and it can only be beneficial. And it depends on the attitude of the person. And what's the point of learning skills unless you put them into practice? Absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you,
Yeah.
Paul. And so protocolwise.com is the site, and people should go and take a look and contact you if interested to collaborate on something.
Yeah.
And I welcome you back again, perhaps next month.
Thank you.
We'll find another topic that's related. And it will be my pleasure to have you as my guest on Global TV Talk Show.
Thank
again
you.
and again.
Thank you so much, Ed.
I learned so much from this. I thank you.
Great. Thank you for having me.
All right, have a good evening.
Thanks.
And thank you very much. And there you are. Tell me more. Tell me more relates to what? That you want to learn more about the people, right?
Yeah, and you want to learn more about the story of Protocol Wise, where it came from, and about my story a little bit, and how I came to be where I am in my career and in my in my position. So that's what the Tell Me More is about. If you're interested in knowing more about the company and the services I offer, so that's what it is.
Great. Okay. Thank you, and have a good evening. And let's stay in touch. Ciao.
Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.